David Funk is a top level obstacle course racing and ninja coach. And today he shares his story, how he trains para and non-para athletes, and he shares how you can compete in OCRs. And just so you know, David Funk is my OCR coach, and he assisted in preparing me to compete in para and non-para OCR events, including the Para Spartan Team World Championships that aired this week on ESPN. So tune in.
Through that tragedy taught me life is finite. You really have a short window to take what it is from life that you want and enjoy it.
You can go back to that day, February 18, 1990, and change what happened. My honest answer is I wouldn't change it.
You're just going to have to go through it, and your strength is going to be found in simply going through it and being authentic and real in the process.
I was talking with my buddy, the care doctor, today, and she turned around to me and she looked at me and she was like, do you think that you'll eventually beat this? And I was sort of like, yeah, that's probably what I'm trying to do.
No, nothing will ever take away the pain of my daughter not being here. My reality.
Well, I know what my body's going to do to me. I've got a wheelchair in my future. But you know what I've been looking for?
What's that?
One with off-road wheels.
Just remembering me as I am, happy, energetic, and full of life, no matter what.
You can expect life to kick you in the teeth, but you always get back up, no matter what, and you just keep going.
Yo, what's up, everyone? This is Scott Davidson, and just so you know, you can find out more about Living Adaptive and previous shows, context for guests, and a bunch of other good stuff at livingadaptive.com. Go there. All right, let's jump into this. So, David Funk, you work in entertainment, man. You do fire spinning, you do all kinds of crazy events. You've worked on the Vegas Strip. You've been a stuntman. How'd you get into this?
That goes all the way back from theater in high school. Did that my senior year, ended up doing my first stage combat sword fight. That got me into Ren Fair and then Medieval Times, Excalibur in Las Vegas. And then just while I was working here, running out to LA, got into film stunts. And while I was in Vegas, doing circus acts, fire performing and stuff like that, and running out to LA to do film. Moved down to New Orleans for about 2 years to work on movies, shows, and stuff like that. Decided that it was a great experience, but Vegas was home, so I moved back.
So how did you get into this OCR, obstacle course racing, Spartan, Tough Mudder for the listeners, various races like that, and also into the ninja game, meaning like American Ninja that you see on TV? How'd you get there?
I've been watching Ninja Warrior since the original Japanese show, Sasuke, and, all the way through the current American Ninja Warrior now. So I've always been a fan. It was something that I don't know why, but I never thought about training for it myself. I was just kind of wrapped up in my shows and my stunts and stuff like that. And so there's kind of a two-part. I was working on a show and blew out my knee, which changed a lot of things in my life. But the biggest thing was after I rehabbed it, if I don't keep it moving constantly, then it locks up, gets sore, and then I can't move it. So it's literally I have to keep doing something to keep it loose. And then when I was working on films in New Orleans, we trained at a gymnastics gym. So it was more like jumping around and, body movement training. And so when I moved back to Vegas, I couldn't just go to your run-of-the-mill athletic club and lift weights and stuff like that. I was hooked on that movement aspect. And that's when I came across Camp Rhino, and it was more obstacle training, and they had ninja obstacles, and it started off as just a different style of training. And then I fortunately got good enough to start competing and teaching and all that stuff. So it was an interesting process.
Right before summer started of this year, I had this goal. I said, hey, man, I want to compete in an OCR. I've never done one before. I want to compete. And not only do I want to compete, I want to qualify. And I want to qualify for the Para Spartan World Championships. And I came to you. I messaged you, and you embraced it immediately. And that started our journey. And from that, you've got your experience in working. You've obviously worked with a lot of high-level athletes in various realms, and now you work with para athletes. How does working with para or adaptive athletes, as some call it, compare to working with non-adaptive athletes?
I don't know. I don't see them as it's not like two different species that you're going to compare against each other. Like you said, you came in. You're a person. I get people coming in all the time, and you all have your own individual strengths, weaknesses, goals, fears, like all that stuff. And, it's just like, what do you want to do and how can we get you there? And I think like going back to the entertainment, probably the best thing for me was I'm a multi-prop fire performer. So it's like working with different tools, and my philosophy on it is figure out how they're the same and then figure out how they're different. So it's like, how do I train everybody to complete an obstacle? And then what is keeping you from doing that certain technique that I taught you? And for some people, it's they're overweight. Some people, they lack mobility. Some people, they're scared. Some people, they're missing a limb. So it's just like start with the general and then move to the specific. And to me, it's the same for everyone.
Now, I've watched you coach para athletes with various challenges, and you talked about athletes that are missing limbs that you've worked with and so forth. And this most recently was at the Spartan World Championships that's going to air on ESPN. And some of these athletes, again, are missing limbs and maybe legs, maybe arms, maybe one, maybe both, maybe all. And you seem to really enjoy that challenge of working with athletes with various difficulties, various circumstances. Why do you enjoy that challenge so much?
Two reasons. One, I love solving the problem of how someone's different. I'm going to teach you this. Why can't you do this? Okay, what can you do? And, for some people, it's just like, okay, well, maybe you need to do some stretches, get some hip mobility, or maybe do some exercises to get a little bit stronger. Like you need your grip strength. It's one problem to solve. But then you can't develop grip strength on an arm that's not there. It's like it takes that problem solving to like a whole new level. And it's actually fascinating to work with people who are missing limbs and see what they've already done just to get through life and the creativity that they've already managed to work with what they have. And it takes my learning from the student to a whole new level. Because if you think about it, if I can work with someone and help them get across an obstacle with a missing limb, then anyone I teach with all of their facilities, this technique could help them, because it's like if you can get across with one arm or one leg, then you should be able to blow through it with two arms, two legs, or something like that. So it gives me a great opportunity to learn to work around extreme limitations to help the person who needs it, and hopefully take that information to help everyone else, whether they're in the exact same situation or not.
What do you tell individuals that are apprehensive to try OCRs? Like, what do you tell them? Because you just talked about how like athletes that are missing limbs, or maybe their limbs aren't fully functioning, you figure out a way to navigate that obstacle. And then there's others that are on the couch. They're just apprehensive. What do you tell both parties?
Usually I ask people if they've ever done obstacles before. And obviously 90% of the time the answer is no. And then I ask them if they've ever played on a playground, and they say yes. And I said, then you've done obstacles. To me, that's what it is. OCR racing, they tend to look at it as some big, bad, scary thing where they've got to, do all this running, climbing through the mud and, trying to get over these obstacles. And like, I don't know. It's like, I try and tell them that, look at that as fun. You used to do that as a kid all the time and you loved it. Somewhere in there you got scared, but if you can get back in touch with that, think of it as like you're going out on an adventure. You're going on a hike, or you're going on a run. If you don't want to run, you're going on a hike. Monkey bars were never something to be scared of, right? It's just something to play on. And so embrace the joy and adventure of it. And once you've done that, then worry about the competitive aspect and stuff like that. If you've never done it before, just go out and have fun. And then if you want to compete, go compete and do your best.
Now you compete. You said the word competitive. You compete, and you compete in OCRs. You compete in Ninja. Most recently, you did place first in the Masters division of the National Ninja League. And so you're out there competing. What are your goals, man? I mean, we're going to follow you and we reach out to you for coaching and so forth, but what are your goals outside of coaching?
I mean, I just want to do the best that I can. It's taken me this far, like you said, winning qualifying Masters division at NNL and moving on to national finals. I also got an invite to do the Spartan trifecta in Sparta, Greece. And it's just like that came from just wanting to run faster every year, wanting to do better, hang on longer. But I've always just been kind of glued to my personal goals. And I don't know, it sounds weird saying to someone who, they're like, I want to win the world.
Yeah.
I feel like, some people have that goal and, I want to help them achieve that goal. For me personally, I'm just constantly trying to be better. And I find that is bringing me to winning competitions and, moving up in these competitions.
What are your goals now for outside of competition coaching?
As much as I can branch out, I want to help as many people as possible. The things that I love doing are the problem solving. I want to help everyone. I especially like the people, like you said, who are scared of it. I feel like the biggest obstacle is everything that's in your head, your own self-doubt, and helping people conquer that is great. Because to me, like the obstacles that I see in the gym or on the course or anything, it's a physical manifestation of anything that would be in your life. I mean, to me, there's no difference between that 8-foot wall in front of you and your end of the year taxes. It's something that you can build up in your head to be something scary and run from it, and then it becomes something that's crippling the rest of your life, or it's something that you can face head on and either find out maybe it is as bad as you pictured in your head, but then you keep pushing, you keep fighting, and eventually you win over it, and then you can move forward.
If you're planning a week for OCR training, say you're going to a Spartan Super, you have many weeks to train for that usually, or months or whatever. But like say you just pick a week randomly out of that bunch of training. What does a week look like for you or what you want to bring to the table for your athletes that you're coaching? What does that week look like of training?
If we're only talking about a week, train burpees. Because a Spartan Super, if you're trying to get all your training in a week, this is a year-round thing for something like that. If you're going to put in a week, train your burpees, get burpee proof. No, but running, obviously, a lot of people, I do know a lot of people who join OCRs because they hate just running. And I was like, running's 90% of it. You want to get your running on point, especially if you're doing a super, because now they dropped it down to a 10K, but it used to be like 10 miles. So prepping for an extended run like that, everyone should be able, like in decent physical shape, should be able to run 3 miles with no training. Now, depending on the speed, but without actually incurring injury or something like that. But when you get up to 10 and stuff like that, that's when it really wears. So getting that training, getting trail running in, because running on uneven ground is way different than just running on the street or sidewalk. Trying to get that grip in. Grip is the most important thing. Even if you can't throw yourself 6 feet through the air, you need to be able to hang on. The longer you can hang on, especially stuff like monkey bars, if you've never done it before, having the strength to hang on while you're trying to figure it out, definitely a plus.
What's the frequency?
The frequency? Generally, I train 3 to 5 days a week, all different stuff. So I do a lot of crossover training with Ninja. So we'll actually do a grip day, a lower body day. We'll do 2 course days, but if we want to compress it into one, we'll do one where we actually you practice a course where we get a lot of that extra practice on the obstacles, a lot of really drilling in those techniques and stuff like that. And then the other days are more like just full body. What do we need? We need balance, core, stuff like that. So more of a general one for stuff like that.
Now you train in Las Vegas and you coach in Las Vegas, and we have a monster gym that we get to be a part of in Las Vegas. But a lot of our listeners are from around the world, and they're not just here in the States. And so it's difficult to kind of be in your community, in your circle. So surely at some point, if you're in the Las Vegas area, you can drop in, train with you in person. But
I'd love
Yeah, that's not always the case. They can't always do that. Do you plan to share more online about how to navigate these obstacles, whether you have some sort of physical challenge, maybe your limb doesn't work or maybe it does, or whether you're just, trying to figure out how to get across those monkey bars or how to get over that 8-foot wall? Are you going to start to share that online? And also, two-part question, are you going to start sharing out like workouts of the day, whether it's OCR or Ninja, on your social media accounts?
Okay, so there is a plan to start a YouTube channel in 2020 where it's going to be just videos of my takes on, there's a ton of them out there. So, some of the information might be the same as those. Some of the information might be a little bit different. So for me in general, I want to put out videos to do techniques on different obstacles and stuff like that. I am also going to have I want to do videos where there's training methods, like if you don't actually have this obstacle, how can you train it with what we have? So we have a boot camp program that goes out to a lot of CrossFit gyms. So it's, it's basically boot camp classes that you can do in a CrossFit gym. So I'm trying to come up with exercises and ways to build the techniques using stuff that you would only find in a quote normal gym. So like just weights, dumbbells and stuff like that, and how you can kind of simulate the feeling of being on an obstacle, how you would move. As far as working with para athletes, I think I would love to do videos like that. I think the challenge there would be finding people locally to participate in them. So we could go through the learning process and come up with the strategies and then be able to film it with that person, because it's going to be hard for me to simulate someone who is missing a leg or has a prosthetic on, at least off the top of my head.
I encourage any adaptive athletes listening that want to work with Coach David Funk on these videos, to kind of show there's a way to get through these obstacles. Reach out, man. Reach out to me or David, and we'll try to get you hooked up and connected. And you can be in a couple videos, and especially if you're local, it'll be really nice if we can get that going. So I think that's a really unique experience for anybody out there listening. Now, to jump to the last question before we close this out, man, you got to be there at the event in, the Spartan Worlds. And so you got to see a lot of stuff going on there, and it's going to air on ESPN. How does it feel? Like you were like coaching a bunch of those athletes how to get through the rope climbing the day before, man, and how to throw the spear and stuff like that. Do you feel like it's going to be kind of a cool, unique experience that you had some impacts on a lot of those athletes out there?
I can't tell you how amazing that experience was. Whatever impact I had on them paled into comparison to the impact they had on me. These guys were just absolutely amazing. I just felt like I was giving out little tips to see what they've already managed to accomplish with their own personal situations. Like, I don't even know where to start. With people they were flying up ropes, and they were conquering these obstacles better than some of the quote able-bodied people with all of their facilities getting through it. These guys were just absolutely amazing. I was in complete awe the entire time. I would love to just be in the presence of these people and to work with them would just be even better.
All right, David Funk, coach at Camp Rhino, my coach, the person that got me through. We triaged to get through the first OCR to qualify, and then we went all the way off to ESPN and whatever shit's next. Well, I don't even know what's next for me, but we're just going to do it. And I appreciate you being here, man. I'm going to let everybody know where you are in our show notes. So we're going to keep you guys up to date on Coach David Funk and what's happening here locally in our scene and also here in the Western U.S., because we plan to have events and classes and a bunch of other good stuff. We're going to kick off this OCR scene for the para-adaptive athletes out our way. So thank you, David, for being here.
Thank you.
Remember, go to livingadaptive.com to find previous episodes, show notes, contacts for guests like this guest, links to social media accounts, and a bunch of other good stuff. So go there. Peace.